What's up, everybody? Kevin Hogan with Gold Trails, and I'm going to share with you one of the most beautiful places that I've ever been, and that's the Lost Dutchman's Mining Association Italian Bar Camp, a camp that I've been coming to for decades, and I just love this place. What I'd like to share with you is a little bit about the history, getting here, the amenities that we have, and most importantly, for all you prospectors and miners out there, we're going to talk about the gold on the Stanislaus River right there and all the areas around this camp. So let's get started with a little bit of the history of the Italian Bar Camp. After the Buzzard bought this property, a whole group of LDMA members and his family all got together to build the infrastructure of the camp. So right here is the clubhouse. Clubhouse is open for members to use. Lots of board games in there, lots of other things, but most of the time it's just people either sitting on the porch or sitting in the clubhouse talking about their experiences at Italian bar or other LDMA camps. It's never a dull moment. Now over here we have the kitchen. The kitchen is designed to be used during outings and events and special occasions and so on like that. I'll tell you what, when I was doing outings and events with LDMA, I have cooked hundreds and hundreds of meals in there, and it's a great kitchen. It's absolutely a great kitchen. Now, one of the things they wanted to make sure that they got done was a nod to Nervi. In the winter of 1849, an Italian immigrant by the name of Joaquin de Luca, who became known as Nervi, he was from Nervi, Italy, moved into this area and started a little store. Nervi was very, very well known. He was known because he wore gold earrings and he played a hand organ, played one of the grinding organs. And even though he couldn't read or write, he did a lot of the history of this area by just drawing pictures and doing different symbols and different things. And that's how he understood all of this area. So there was a miner down the road that was working in this particular area, and he brought in some goods, and maybe Nervi bought some gold from him or whatever. Instead of being able to write it out, he would draw a picture, and he had a symbol for all of the different miners. So they built Nervi's store. Now Nervi's store is a collection of magazines. It's more like the reading room. So you can walk in there, you can find different books. There's thousands of different books and magazines, and that's what makes up just the first part of the LDMA camp. And of course, the campground has a full bathroom facility. We've got men's and women's bathrooms right up over my shoulder, and there's also showers. And after a long day of prospecting, being able to take a hot shower is really amazing. Not only do we have a great bathroom facility, we've also got a dump station for all of our members that are camped. So before you head out on the road, come in, black water, gray water, doesn't matter. Let's take a look at all the camping sites and the camping areas that we have to offer at the Italian Bar LDMA Camp. This is main camp. Now, main camp is where most of the members will always want to stay because you're really close to everything. The clubhouse is right there, Nervi's store, the offices, the kitchen, everything is right there. But this whole area, there's a lot of water sites in here, so it's one of the most popular. Plus, there's a lot of dry areas. But what makes this so popular is that this is where the big community is. I've seen as many as 50, 60 rigs in here at one time during an outing and things like that. But since we're not officially open right now, I don't expect to see anybody in here. Caretakers are out here right now getting the final touches on before we open up for the summer season. This is the area that we call Upper Camp. It's right across from the clubhouse, right next to the restrooms. And as you can see, we've really done a great job of flattening these out, terracing all the way up to the top and creating these great sites. I don't recommend it for anything really over 30, 35 feet. Some of the sites are wet, some of the sites are dry. So if you're coming out, just make sure that you make a reservation for either a wet site, or if you just want to boondock it and be dry, that's great. Remember, we've got the dump station and everything else over there that you can use. And this is a beautiful area going all the way up this hill with a lot of campsites all through the area. This is Skeeter Flats. Don't let the name fool you. Skeeter Flats will accommodate 3 or 4 rigs. Most of the sites are dry, but it is a great spot if you want to be right next to the river, be able to walk out of your rig and walk right down to the river and do some prospecting. Skeeter Flats is another camp that's right across the street from the main clubhouse, the restrooms, all of the amenities. Right now we're in Lower Camp. Lower Camp is right across from the clubhouse, the bathrooms, all of the facilities, but another fairly private place. It'll accommodate about 25 rigs, goes all the way down to that apple tree way back there. And as you can see, it's really a favorite place for member prospectors to come out, do a little bit of gold panning, feet in the river. Welcome to River Camp. This is actually one of my favorite places. You're right across the road from the clubhouse and all the amenities, but it's pretty desolate over here. You just feel like you have a lot of privacy. Now, this entire area, we've got a number of wet sites in here, but we've also got a number of dry sites in here. If you want to get away from just being right in the middle of the camp and you just don't want to get too far away, believe me, River Camp is a place that you want to choose. Now, really cool thing about this is for prospecting and mining, right up that road is where you're going to run into Silver Creek, and that's where Silver Creek enters into the Stanislaus, and that area has always been known for really good gold. If you just need that break from people, but you want to come down and you want to go prospecting and have a great place to stay, this is it. This is First Camp. This is the only campsite that we have that absolutely has to be reserved in advance, well in advance. This offers you an incredible amount of seclusion. You've got the river right there. You can go dip your toes, go prospecting and mining, and you're about 1/8 of a mile away from the main camp. This is, quite frankly, sometimes one of my favorite campsites. There's another big benefit to being at the Lost Dutchman Italian Bar Camp. All over the property are all these grapes, and these are some of the sweetest grapes I've ever had. When these things come in, I will probably be back down here. I've made grape jelly, grape jam, grape just about everything from the grapes all around the property. Hey, if you're a hiker or somebody that's just young at heart and young at body, and you want to make an amazing hike that'll take you way back over and almost to one of the northern ends of the properties, this is it. This is what we call Heart Attack Ridge. We don't know of anybody that's ever had a heart attack on it, but I'll tell you what, the last time I came up this ridge, my heart was beating hard. So you grab this cable, you follow it up, and it takes you all the way back, and there's some beautiful open areas back there where you can just see history. All right, let's talk about getting to Ibar. Believe me, after coming down here for almost 40 years, I've heard every horror story that there is about Ibar Road. I have seen trucks come down this road with 40-foot tow-behind trailers behind them. One of our vendors that came down here all the time in his crew cab 1-ton extra long bed truck hauling a gooseneck 40-foot racing car trailer that had his entire shop in it. But that's a guy that drives this road a lot over the years. And yes, a couple of years ago we did have a problem with the road. The road did completely wash out, but the county rebuilt it, put in some new bridges, took care of everything. And right now, you're going to have some potholes. And if you are worried about it, do what a lot of folks do. They drop their trailer off up top and then drive down to see what the road actually looks like. And when they get down to the bottom, they turn around and go, yeah, I could have done this. Now, I'm not going to kid you. Yes, there are potholes. It's a county maintained road, but I'm not going to tell you that the county maintains it the way that they're going to maintain roads up in Columbia. We're kind of off the beaten path here. That's just the way we like it. But getting down to Ibar is not that big of a problem. If we've had some weather and you're worried about the roads, pick up the phone, call the caretakers. They'll be able to tell you exactly what the roads are like because they are in and out of these roads all the time. If you're just not used to driving on narrow gravel roads, if you're not used to driving on that, yeah, you may have a little bit of a pucker. Not bad, but you'll get over it and you'll be all the happier because you did it. Now, there is one rule about driving these mountain roads like this, and that is whoever is coming up and out always has the right of way. So remember that. And that's why a lot of people, when they come into the camp, they'll come into the camp at dusk or maybe a little bit after that so they can see the headlights coming up the hill. Because if they see the headlights, there's a lot of little pull-out spots and everything else like that. And really the locals that live down here, you give them 3 inches to get around you and they've got it. So up and out always has the right of way. Just remember that, because it's more than courtesy, it's how you make friends. So let's talk about the real reason you come to a mining camp, and that is to go mine gold. Now, Stanislaus River has such an incredible history of gold mining and everything else, and then loads of hard rock mines and other types of mines all the way around this area. I was looking at a map the other day that just laid out all the big placer strikes and all the lode strikes around here as well. And all of them find their way into the Stanislaus River at one point or another. So coming out here to mine is absolutely amazing. Never regretted a moment of it just coming out here. There's been times where I've gotten on really good gold, and there's been other times where I didn't even really do any prospecting. Just went out and threw a pan in and pulled out some gold. And on the first gold trails out here, the water was way down. They hadn't opened up all these dams. And I'll tell you, the gang got onto some really good gold the second day that we were out here. They went to the same places that they normally would go and really didn't do any visual prospecting. And there's a few tiny specks of gold found. But when I took them around and showed them the area and taught them about Silver Creek and how that water coming down there and how high that water was during the floods, it really made a difference in how their perspective. And they moved up about 80 to 100 feet. And first strike, not that good, but they moved into the water a little bit. They let the rock layer, they let everything talk to them and just tell them how that material came around. And we ran about 7 or 8 buckets, and they got just a little under a half a gram of gold, which, if you think about it that way, 7 buckets, 7 5-gallon buckets for a half a gram of gold is not bad at all. So you've got the Stanislaus River. Now, of course, you can sluice in the river. You can use things like a Gold Rush nugget bucket, tools like that. And then when you get over on Silver Creek, basically the same thing, but Silver Creek is dry a lot of the times of the year. So it's a great place to get in there and really start do some dry working and getting some concentrates made to take back to your campsite and run through a recirculator or something like that. Of course, metal detecting up here is just absolutely great. I've pulled a couple of nuggets out here, but I actually come here to spend more time in the water than I do swinging a detector. Went up to UFO Flats years ago, over the course of a couple of years, and pulled out 2 very small, nice little nuggets. So no complaints. But the gold that I've gotten out of this river has been everything from ultra fine to nice little nuggets. So, I've not pulled out a big one here. Haven't pulled out anything over a half ounce, but I've pulled some nice gold out of this river over the years that I've been here. So, so there you go. That's everything. It took you through the camp, took you through the amenities, took you through everything. And we're going to end this with gold. And when I talk to people about coming to any LDMA camp, not just IBAR, it's not really about making plans to go camping. It's about making plans to come home.